Welcome to Mindset-Talk-NoJutsu, and we're back in the studio. Today we're talking about Gon Frexies and the power of loyalty, a homage to Brotherhood. The boy who trusted the world. You ever meet someone and skip the introduction phase completely? No resume, no testing period, no pretending, just recognition, like your instincts speak before your brain does. I felt that way with my brother. We argued growing up, competed over dumb things. Sometimes we didn't even like each other that day. But loyalty? Never negotiable. There's a difference between friends you meet and people who share your origin story. My brother isn't just someone I grew up with. He remembers versions of me that the world never met. Before titles, before mistakes, before life started measuring success. Some people know who you became. Your brother knows who you've always been. If life went left tomorrow, I already know where I'd stand, right beside him. That's why Gon hits differently for me. On Whale Island, Gon stands at the edge of the ocean, watching ships disappear over the horizon. No fear, no doubt, just curiosity. He believes the world rewards honesty, that people are mostly good, that adventure leads somewhere meaningful. And if I'm being real, I remember feeling exactly like that when I left home to join the military. Bag packed, future wide open, convicted that purpose was waiting somewhere beyond the horizon. I wasn't running away. I was running toward who I thought I was supposed to become. But here's the part nobody talks about. Every adventure requires a departure. And while I was chasing growth, I was also leaving my brother behind. Two people standing at different starting lines of the same life. One stepping into the unknown, one staying where memories lived. That's the quiet cost of becoming someone new. You gain direction, but you also feel the distance. And most of us don't realize it in the moment. We just believe that the world will make sense when we come back, before experience rewrites the rules. Leaving innocence behind. Gon doesn't leave home chasing strength. He leaves searching for understanding. Why would a father abandon comfort for purpose? That question carries Gon into the hunter exam. Picture it. Hundreds of competitors gathered in a quiet underground tunnel. Adults shaped by survival. Assassins standing still like statues. Veterans scanning the room. People who look like they've already lived their entire lives. And then Gon walks in, smiling like he just arrived at summer camp. He introduces himself to strangers, helps people who might eliminate him later, trusts immediately. But not because he's naive. It's because he hasn't learned fear yet. And that part always hits me personally. I grew up watching my father leave before we did. Deployments, field training, new duty stations waiting somewhere ahead of us. He would go first, see the unknown before the family arrived. As kids, my brother and I learned early that purpose sometimes pulls people away before you understand why. So when my turn came up to leave for basic training, it felt strangely similar. Standing in formation with strangers from everywhere, different accents, different stories, same uncertainty hanging in the air, bags packed, haircuts gone, comfort stripped away. Nobody cared who you used to be. That was my hunter exam. And the strange part about leaving for basic wasn't fear. It was realizing my brother and I were finally facing different battles. For the first time, adaptation wasn't something we were doing together. Same upbringing, same foundation, different missions. Nobody prepares you for how heavy growth feels when your teammate isn't beside you anymore. The moment life stops introducing itself gently, it starts asking who you really are. There was a season when everything still felt simple, before responsibility stacked up, before loyalty started costing energy, before adulthood taught me that doing the right thing doesn't guarantee protection. Innocence doesn't shatter all at once, it fades quietly. One realization at a time, one goodbye at a time. One test you didn't realize you were taking until it changed you. Two outsiders meet. During the hunter exam, Gon Frexies meets Killer Zoldyck. Hundreds of competitors are calculating survival, eyes scanning for threats, bodies tense, everyone treating the exam like war. But these two? They're racing down long stone hallways, laughing, trading challenges, testing each other, smiling like they forgot they were supposed to be rivals. Kilo grew up in a family where affection meant control, where praise was rare, where mistakes meant punishment, where survival mattered more than connection. People sense danger around him instantly. They keep their distance. But Gon, he doesn't react to the reputation. He invites him to play, to compete, to joke, to just be a kid. And something shifts. Because sometimes healing, it isn't advice. It's being treated like you were never broken in the first place. Watching that always reminds me of basic training. The hunter exam in basic felt similar in spirit. Strangers thrown together, pressure everywhere, everyone trying to prove that they belong. You're exhausted, uncertain, learning quickly who folds under pressure and who runs beside you. That was a moment in my life where it split in a different way. While Gon was meeting the person who would become his brother, my brother and I were separating paths. I joined the Air Force, and he stayed behind. It felt strange. My whole life adapting meant we adapted together. New cities, new schools, new environments. We learned survival, side by side. But this time, I was walking into the unknown alone. Watching Gon meet Killua during the hunter exam hits differently for me now. Because while Gon was finding the person who would walk beside him through every trial, I was learning what it felt like to continue forward without my brother next to me. Same bond, different direction. For the first time in our lives, we weren't adapting together. No shared school, no new environment side by side, no automatic teammate. At the time, it felt like growth, purpose, calling me forward. What I didn't understand yet was that growth sometimes creates distance before it creates understanding. Friction showed up where closeness used to live. Not because love disappeared, but because change affects people differently. Gon and Killua's bond begins in shared struggle. Mine and my brother's relationship entered a new test the moment our journeys stopped looking the same. And that's something adulthood teaches you quietly. Sometimes loyalty isn't challenged by enemies. It's challenged by evolution. And even then, if my brother called me at 3 a.m., I'm already putting shoes on. Because brotherhood doesn't disappear when paths divide. It just learns how to survive through the distance. Loyalty is chosen. Near the end of the hunter exam, something unexpected happens. Killua's Zoldyck fails. Not because he lacks strength, not because he isn't capable, but because the world he came from finally catches up to him. Pressure, expectations, old conditioning pulling him backward. In one moment, the confident kid who laughed beside Gon disappears. And just like that, he's gone, removed from the path that everyone else continues to walk. The exam moves forward without him. And Gon doesn't accept it. But he doesn't just say, that's unfortunate. He doesn't just move on to the next victory. He goes after his friend. Because real loyalty isn't proven when life is going well. It's revealed when someone falls behind. That part of the story always hits me personally. There was a moment in my own life when my path stopped looking like success. I was leaving the military, just not in the way that I imagined. My hunter exam ended without warning. No victory speech, no clear next chapter. Identity shaken, future uncertain. Everything I thought I was building, suddenly gone. And through all of it, my brother was there. He came to see me. Not to fix anything, but to stand there so I didn't face it alone. Stood beside me through every step leading up to it. He sat with me during the quiet nights before everything changed. He was there when the gavel came down and they said, guilty. He was there when the room felt heavy and time slowed down. And he was there when they put the handcuffs on me. Some people disappear when consequences arrive. Brotherhood walks toward it. No speeches, no judgment, just presence. That's when you learn what loyalty really means. Not cheering you when you win, but standing beside you when the world decides who you are in its own eyes. Killua had someone who refused to abandon him after failure. So did I. Because brotherhood isn't about perfection. It's about who stays when your story stops looking heroic. Growing side by side. After the hunter exam, Gon and Killua, they don't immediately become legends. They just live. They travel together, train together, eat too much food after long days, laugh about things that nobody else would understand. Some of their most important moments aren't battles, they're ordinary. Because after loyalty is proven, people don't need grand gestures. They just need time together. That part of the story always reminds me of coming home after everything I went through. After the courtroom, after the release, after life reset itself, whether I was ready or not. My brother and I spent almost every day together. We smoked, we drank, played games for hours, talked about everything and nothing at the same time. We tested each other's strength mentally, physically, chased women, laughed harder than we probably should have. From the outside, it might have looked like we were just wasting time. But looking back, that was healing. No therapy language, no big speeches, just two brothers rebuilding normal life, one day at a time. That's what Gon and Killua represent in this season of the story. Not heroes saving the world, just two young men learning who they are when survival mode finally turns off. Growth rarely feels legendary while it's happening. Healing doesn't always look productive. Sometimes it looks like surviving the day together. You don't realize you're rebuilding yourself. You're just living. And one day, you look back and understand those ordinary days were the bridge between who you were and who you became next. So think about your own life. Who didn't just show up for the crises, but stayed long enough to help you learn how to live again? Those are the relationships that change identity. When the world stops being fair, then comes the Chimera Ant arc. The Chimera Ants weren't just stronger enemies. They were proof that the world doesn't reward innocence, and childhood ends. In Hunter x Hunter, Gon finally meets a world that doesn't reward goodness. Kindness doesn't protect you. Hard work doesn't guarantee justice. And doing everything right doesn't stop loss. He meets Kite, a mentor, a stabilizer, someone who proves strength can still be kind. For Gon, Kite became emotional safety, proof that the world still makes sense. And then that illusion shatters. Neferpitou didn't just defeat Kite. Pitou erased him, turned a mentor into a reminder that strength cannot prevent loss. Because life eventually gives everyone a moment where the rules stop working. The system you believed in fails you. The future you trusted disappears. The identity you built collapses overnight. Some people adapt. Others try to force reality to match how they feel it should work. Gon can't accept it. So instead of grieving, he tries to control the uncontrollable. And that's when he begins to break. Because grief doesn't arrive loudly. It waits until distractions stop. Loyalty turns into rage. The Chimera Ant arc tests Gon in ways nothing else ever has. Loss piles on loss, people he trusts, mentors, friends are gone. Even the smallest bit of hope feels ripped from his hands. And then there's Neferpitou. Neferpitou didn't just fight. She killed Kite. Someone Gon looked up to. Someone who represented guidance and stability. Kite wasn't just gone. He was torn apart in front of him. A living proof that the world didn't follow the rules Gon believed in. The kind of death that punches you in the chest and leaves nothing to argue with. Pitou kneels in front of Gon, pretending to heal Kite, buying time while hope slowly dies in front of him. That moment stretches grief into torture. For Gon, this isn't a fight for victory. It's a desperate, raw attempt to undo what happened, to reclaim what was taken. Grief twists into rage. Absolute loyalty became dangerous. Protecting someone else eclipsed caring for yourself. And I felt that too, just differently. My Neferpitou wasn't a person. It was silent nights after healing stopped feeling like progress, when laughter faded, when the numbing stopped working, when reality sat in the room with me. After trying to heal, after numbing nights with laughter and distraction, reality hit. The quiet came, the laughter stopped, the distractions didn't work. My parents had moved back to Louisiana and took my brother with them. I stayed in Colorado. Everything I thought I had, everything that grounded me, felt like it was crumbling again. No one was there to tell me it was okay to breathe. I had to sit with it. Just like Gon, the weight of loss, seeing someone who anchored you taken away in a way that you couldn't control, becomes almost unbearable. That's the dangerous side of loyalty. Not just the anger you carry for others, but the grief you hold when your anchor disappears, when the world refuses to bend for you. You either break or you learn how to stand on your own. The moment gone dies without dying. After everything, the Chimera ant losses, Kite's death, the betrayal of the world itself, Gon makes a vow. He sacrifices everything to force an outcome that reality won't allow. Not strength, not skill, not clever strategy. He sacrifices himself. His body pushes past its limits. His life force drains. Every cell screams warning. Every friend tells him to stop. But he doesn't hear them because rage and grief are louder than reason. He is alive, but not really. Power has become a coffin. Obsession has replaced identity. This is Gon dying without dying. Not in the literal sense, but in every way that matters. The boy who trusted the world, the friend who found joy in companionship, the young man who still believed innocence mattered, all gone. I know what that feels like. After everything I went through, after release, after distance, after trying to survive alone, there were nights where I felt hollow, no one around, no distractions, just the silence of where I was and where I wasn't. The distance from my brother, the absence of everything familiar. I was physically alive, but emotionally, I was dead, just like Gon. And that's the lesson here. You can survive loss and trauma. You can push your body and your mind to the extremes. But until you process it, until you have the anchors you need, you're not really living. The friend who stayed. After hitting the edge, after sacrificing everything, Gon is broken. He's alive, but not really. Rage and grief have drained him, leaving only emptiness. Then there's Killua. He doesn't judge, he doesn't lecture, he doesn't walk away. He stays. He lifts Gon when he can't lift himself. He guides him when the path forward seems impossible. He reminds Gon of who he was before the loss, before the obsession, before the rage. That's the power of loyalty. Not the kind that celebrates victories, but the kind that doesn't leave when everything is falling apart. I know that feeling. After all the chaos, after my military life, after separation, after nights alone, I didn't have much left of the person that I used to be. But my brother, he stayed. He didn't abandon me when the system failed. He didn't walk away when I was raw, angry, and spiraling. He sat with me. He pushed me gently. He reminded me that I wasn't alone, even when I felt I was. That presence, unwavering, patient, loyal, pulled me back just like Killua pulled Gon back. And that's the lesson. Real friendship, real brotherhood isn't proven in the easy moments. It's proven when you're broken, when you've lost faith in the world, when all you want to do is disappear. The person who stays, the person who anchors you, that's the one who changes everything. There's a Japanese concept called amai. It's the comfort of emotionally leaning on someone without fear of rejection. A place where you don't have to prove yourself, where you can be raw, human, broken even, and still feel safe. Gon found amai in Killua. He could collapse, he could rage, he could grieve, and Killua didn't leave. He didn't judge, he didn't demand performance or control. He was just there. That's the kind of friendship that heals. I've learned this too, because leaning on someone felt impossible at first. But my brother reminded me that leaning doesn't mean losing. It doesn't erase your responsibility. It doesn't make you weak. It lets you survive and eventually thrive. Amai is the invisible tether. It's the courage to say, I can't do this alone today, and still know I'm still me. This is the subtle power of loyalty, not just fighting beside someone, but letting them fight beside you too. Talk No Jutsu Challenge. Gon's story isn't just about adventure or power. It's about loyalty, about being present for someone when life strips everything else away, about giving and receiving. It's about Homage, letting someone lean on you and you leaning when you need to. So here's the challenge for you. Think of the person who anchors you, the one who stayed when the world wasn't fair, the one who reminded you who you are, your brother, your best friend, your day one person. Now reach out, not just with a meme, not with a reaction. Send a message, make a call, or just sit down with them. Tell them what they mean to you. I appreciate you. I see you. Couldn't have made it without you. Because most people don't hear that until it's too late. I know I didn't say it enough. After all the nights in Colorado, after all the distance from my brother, I realized just how much having him there shaped who I am. Don't wait for loss to make you speak. Be present. Be the anchor. Let loyalty live out loud. That's the true power Gon and Killua found, and what we all can cultivate in our own lives. And that's the power of loyalty. Some people enter your life and become family by choice. Gon and Killua reminded us that strength isn't just about fighting alone. It's about knowing who you'd stand beside when everything falls apart, and who you will stand beside when you can't stand at all. Loyalty isn't a trophy. It's not about winning battles. It's about presence, patience, and unwavering support. Think back to my brother. Through moves, deployments, distance, he never stopped showing up. Even when I was raw, broken, and lost, he reminded me I wasn't alone. That's real power. Not nin, not skills, but the people who anchor you. So when you leave here today, remember this. The strongest bonds survive growth, distance, and hardship. The real victories are the relationships you build, protect, and lean on. The ones that teach you who you are and remind you that even in the chaos, you're not facing life alone. That's the power of loyalty. That's what Gon and Killua taught me, and that's what I hope it teaches you. This is Mindset-Talk-NoJutsu. Stay tuned next